Luke chapter 9, verse 20. He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Peter answered and said, "The Christ of God." And he strictly warned and commanded them to tell this to no one, saying, "The Son of Man must suffer many things, and be rejected by the elders and the chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised the third day." Then he said to them all, "If anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, while whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. For what profit is it to a man if he gains the whole world and is himself destroyed or lost? For whoever is ashamed of me and my words, of him the Son of Man will be ashamed when he comes in his own glory and in his Father's of the holy angels." Now, it's pretty deep, right? And I feel like this is definitely one of those verses where as soon as you hear it, it kind of just like touches you deep in your soul and make you like think and kind of question your reality and your perspective, if that makes sense, and question it whether if you're living it truthfully or you're not living it truthfully. And I feel like a lot of us have that discernment and we are able to know, and we know exactly right away. But of course, we like to deny. We don't like accountability. We just want to play like, oh, let me just play oblivious and pretend like I don't know what's what. But we all know what's what. And I feel like this is one of those perfect examples. And I feel like we all know it and know I'm not somebody who has the authority to, when I say authority, I mean like to be able to teach this, as in I never went to Bible study school or studied it deeply or around like other people who actually can give me, the true deep meaning. I can only get based off what my experiences are, what I learned from other humans, which of course are still my experiences, and what I know God has given to me and spoken to me and also taken away from me. And let me just try to break this down the best way that I can for what I believe it is. So when I hear, "For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it." Now, for myself, when I hear that, I truly think of just kind of just where I am right now in my life. I struggle with a lot of things, just like many people, many men specifically, when it comes to, like, of course, mental health, strength, being emotional, understanding your spirituality, especially in this kind of world and this kind of generation with everything that's around us. And honestly, things like this are really grounding and help guide us towards that correct path. Now, whoever desires to save his life will lose it. What I think is that is like when I think too much of myself. When I think that, for example, right, I'm an actor, a model, I think that things should be a specific way. I think I'm like, I don't think I am, but I feel like I'm like, oh, I kind of have to move like Denzel Washington. Like I shouldn't post anything. I can't talk to people. Like I just gotta figure out how to move through the shadows, and then my face will just magically pop up in like films and movies everywhere. People be like, "Oh my god, like who is that?" And like, and then I'll just be solidified and go from there. But I'm like, wait a minute, or like I think I have to be like more like, very stern, introverted. Can't let my story out, let my vulnerability be open, or else my image is gonna be tarnished as an actor, and people like are not gonna care because I don't have that kind of cool aesthetic, like secret look. And that's kind of what I feel like I lack in a lot in terms of losing it. And for example, like me losing it, I've learned a lot that me just opening up, spreading myself, spreading my gospel, talking to people, that helps change people's lives. Me like changing things, for example, posting more. And like I said, not just for like, money, cloud or anything, but posting more to share with other people that, there are bigger things out there. You can be a better version of yourself. I didn't grow up in the best childhood, like at all. From trauma, depression, anxiety, stress, insomnia, unnecessary trauma, but way too much abuse. Like the list goes on and on. And I feel like one of those things that like I literally just keep to myself and I won't let myself evolve. I don't like to forgive people. I just like to let myself like this made me, this forged me in fire, like. And I feel like I carry that a lot. And I feel like me doing that, I also lack following God's principles and His commandments. I lack forgiveness. I lack getting rid of lust. I lack getting rid of whatever it is that I could be slacking on and just not moving forward. And that I feel like that's not me truly giving my life to God and to Jesus and letting Him save me, which of course I have, and He's in my heart and I love Him deeply. But I feel like those are the few things that I struggle with. That it's just like I'm not like fully just be like here. Of course, I already did that motion, but it's truly like working on the inside. That's something that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of good intention. Now, when the other part says, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. Like this moment right here, I'm doing something I've never done before. I feel like to me, this is something private. Like once I do it on my own, work on myself on my own. But I also coming to the age where it's like, and understanding that I'm like, this is probably what I meant when it's like, when they say you have to change and move differently to get different results. And like I said, I don't mean just like, oh, being famous or clout, because I could really care less about that. I meant more so in finding my purpose, and what I've always wanted to do is help those who don't have a voice find voices for themselves. As someone who grew up with a really bad stutter, and yeah, it sucked. But this has actually helped me a lot too. And yeah. So, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. Of course, giving yourself to Jesus, learning how to forgive, learning how to open up your heart more, be there for those even when they aren't there for you, and just understanding how to be the best version of yourself, not just for yourself, but in God's commandments, so that way you get closer to Him with a closer relationship, and to those around you, and hopefully you moving in that purpose in that life will touch the heart of others as well too. Those around you, and it'll can continue to spread like a blessed plague, if that makes sense. I know I'm just yapping, but hey, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Now for that second part, for what profit is it to a man if he gains the whole world and is destroyed, and is himself destroyed or lost? It's clear as day. I live in Hollywood, California, LA. I see it all the time. I work for someone who's very wealthy. He's my mentor. And a lot of people that he was around, not saying he dove straight into it, but more so like seeing, like, for example, a millionaire, beautiful house in the hills. Like I'm walking up like, whoa, I just drove a mile up a mountain, crazy view, scenic. This house is crazy. McLaren's outside, Rolls Royces. And then you walk in. Wow, there's no family portraits, pictures, or there's nothing here to make it seem like this house has a soul, or this person may have a soul. It seems like it's just kind of like a passing time or like a den. There's no substance of love or life in here. And in my opinion, I feel like that's what that is. Of course, when it's like you lose so much of yourself, and then you get to a point where you gain so much profit or whatever it is, business, acting, modeling, singing, entertainment, like whatever it is that you do, you lose yourself so much as you gain so many worldly objects, and you feel like you've achieved the pinnacle of success where, sure, on the outside everything looks great, gold, glamorous, but on the inside it's dark and hollow. Like there's nothing there. There's no true substance. There's nothing to pour your heart into, your love into. There's no one that pours their heart and love into you. And I feel like as a man, as a human being, as a child of God, I feel like that's very important for all of us. Not just looking at the profit side, but more so on the side that we don't destroy ourselves chasing worldly things and chasing things that are not meant for us. And we learn to continually adapt, continue to let go, continue to accept, and just continue to grow as humans. Now, for the last one, and whoever is ashamed of me and my words of him, the Son of Man will be ashamed when he comes in his own glory and in his fathers of the holy angels. Once again, I feel like Hollywood's a perfect example. You see it all the time where it's like people, they do all this, they sacrifice so much, they let go of certain things. And when I say sacrifice, of course I sacrifice too, not having a girlfriend, not trying to do certain things because I know I have to sacrifice. I can't have a specific career, like for example, like a regular 9 to 5, because I'm chasing such far-fetched dreams that'll get into it. I'll probably end up getting fired because I want to go do an audition or something. And I meant it's more so on the stuff I'm like, when you sacrifice God, when you sacrifice things that you know are not good, that don't have the best intentions, that are not from God Himself, and then when you finally get to that pinnacle of where you want it to be, with God, it's like you're there, but you're like, damn, I realize how empty it is when I don't have His glory. And then that's when people start just falling, getting deeper and deeper into that black void. And this is when I feel like a lot of people, they understand that they actually still can be saved. And this whole entire time that they actually had what they needed this entire time, they just never cracked open one of these or opened up this. And yeah, we don't know if what that does, but I hope you all enjoyed it.